Railroad signals are a mystery to many rail fans, but can serve as a great source of train-catching information. Now I've compiled years of researching, learning, and using the signals on CSX's XC board system into a fun and easy-to-understand DVD. In How to Read CSX Signals, we cover what railroad signals indicate, what the color combinations mean, and how to use them for rail fanning. From why is there more than one signal on a mast to what do the white lights mean? We help answer your questions about railroad signals, including what they're telling train crews and you. How to Read CSX Signals on the Seaboard System is $19.95 plus $5 shipping and is available now at railfandanny.com. On the XC board system, a yellow over red indicates approach. Slow down to medium speed and prepare to stop at the next signal ahead. On this Tallahassee subdivision at North End Lake City siding, that signal indication is good news for the rail fan. A train is coming and he's going to meet someone at this siding. This approach signal is for K921, loaded rock from Junction City, Georgia to Marianna, Florida. When the big GE engines pass the signal, it drops to all red. It's normal status. Crews call it knocking down the signal. In centralized traffic control, or CTC territory, signals return to the full stop indication when trains enter the track circuit that the signal is governing. They stay red until the dispatcher creates a new route for a new train. It's a fail-safe function of CTC. While 921 was passing, the opposing train, northbound K922, came into the siding. When 921's bottom cleared the north end turnout, the CTC system automatically lined the switch.
922, 23 CSX 3069, got a medium clear. North end of Lake City, siding to the main. Northbound direction.
This was a nice catch, as the trains are mates. 921 is the loaded haul from Junction City. 922 is the empty back haul from Marianna. That's why the empty 922 went into the siding, and the loaded 921 held the main and kept going. CSX's CTC computer dispatching system calculates the weights, lengths, and speeds of trains and sets up meets automatically. Knowing that the 922 was empty, CTC put him into the Lake City siding and let the heavier 921 keep going. Of course, this is how it's supposed to work. Employees will tell you that it often takes a skilled, experienced dispatcher to make this happen smoothly. Sometimes approach-lit signals wait a few minutes before going back to sleep, but not Lake City. I think he's tired this Saturday morning. Several factors have attracted me back to the Tallahassee subdivision today. First are these old Union switch and signal color light signals. With positive train control and satellite-linked CTC looming, these old guys are doomed for retirement. Another attraction for me is many of this subdivision signals still have doll arms. We discussed those in earlier YouTube videos and in the new CSX Signals DVD. And still one more factor for me. North Florida is not under siege from the kind of overdevelopment happening on the Florida Peninsula. There are still hundreds of places along the tracks where an old 20th century rail fan can stand and not see a 40-pump gas station, a Starbucks, or a Chipotle. This is what a gas station looks like in Aucilla, Florida, and I'm guessing they haven't pumped any gas in 20 years, maybe 40. This quiet hamlet is also South End Aucilla siding. Ubiquitous doll arm on the mainline signal, and a dwarf signal guarding the siding. The signals stay dark here until a train is right on top of you. So it was the crossing flashers that finally good newsed me. It was Q606 northbound. Just note, for the next few seconds, the absence of the sound of car engines, air conditioners, and beeping Bobcat tractors clearing land for a new Walmart. Q606 is that New Orleans to Waycross, Georgia daily mixed freight that often runs long enough that CSX puts a remote-controlled engine in the middle of the train. It's called distributed power, but not today. Q606-23 is 8,711 feet, and that's not long enough to need a DPU. The foliage in the background gives us a good look at this old seaboard color light signal. Apparently no need for a yellow approach in this aspect, just stop and clear. As I reported in my first trip up here, the Tallahassee sub was recently rehabilitated for long, heavy trains. Ribbon rail and new ties on the main, but as in many places on the old SCL, stick rail for the siding. I lingered at Aucilla so long that Q606 got well east of me by the time I headed that way. Next stop was Greenville, milepost SP-743.8. This is where the Georgia-Florida Railroad crosses the seaboard. The GFRR is a forestry road that serves the paper mill in Perry, Florida, and a yard in Quitman, Georgia. I'm still moving east, and the next station is one of my favorite North Florida towns, Madison. This burg has a great downtown with a classic turn-of-the-century courthouse. About half a mile downhill from the town center lies the Seaboard Tallahassee Main Line and the Madison Amtrak station, purpose-built for the Sunset Limited. Q606 was already in Madison and stopped in the Madison siding. It and Tallahassee are the only sidings in which he can fit on the Tallahassee sub. So what was a loaded 8,700-foot train waiting for out here? Then it was my radio's turn to good news me.
CSX Equipment Defect Detector, milepost 738.5.
It was the new defect detector at Lee.
No defects. Total axle 704. Train length 9er231. Speed 47. End of transmission.
A coal train coming empty out of the huge Seminole power plant at Bostwick near Palatka, Florida, but long enough to have DPU engines. At 9,000 feet, there wouldn't be many trains passing him on this Saturday. Moving eastward, I plan to catch 606 again at Lee, 8 miles east of Madison. This is that defect detector we heard earlier. Old Seaboard-era hotbox detector, updated with a CSX call sign. But across the tracks, there's a new DD with all new electronics. Word has it that the old Seaboard detectors could not handle trains longer than 9,999 feet. When the old man tried to spit out train length on an 11,000-foot consist, things got squirrely. So an emergency replacement program brought all the Tallahassee sub DDs up to 2015 specs. As I said earlier, North Florida is filled with artifacts of the state the way it was. At Ellaville, the old US 90 bridge still stands. It took 3 Pratt-style trusses to support the 2-lane span across the Suwannee River. Named the Hillman Bridge, it apparently is popular for all kinds of photography and way safer than railroad tracks for this kind of stuff. It offers a great vantage point to shoot the Seaboard Steel Deck Bridge a quarter-mile north. And in about 30 minutes, Q606 comes across. And some local folks enjoying the day way down upon the Suwannee. 12 miles east, we're on the outskirts of Live Oak. As many as 5 railroads called on Live Oak at one time. The last remnant of them was the Live Oak, Perry, and Gulf, owned alternately by loggers, a paper mill, the ACL, and the Southern. The LOP&G is now one of those spots with an absolute signal that protects no siding, no junction, and no turnout. It's tough to get an overhead bridge shot on the Tallahassee line. Overpasses are few and often narrow old structures too narrow to be safe. Or they're Interstate 10, dangerous no matter what. At North End Sanderson, US 90 passes over, but the roadway is a narrow 2-lane. So I climbed up the embankment from below and waited for Q606 to catch me once again. Eastward, about all that's left for me today is Baldwin. 606 beat me here, but his relief didn't arrive until 4 p.m., and that was still 30 minutes from now. Baldwin always makes for great rail fanning because almost everything going to Northwest Florida or down on the peninsula has to come this way. The first catch was G283.
CSX TV 28324, CSX 8581, approach, Baldwin Towers. Track 1, shout out.
My best guess was that this trio of light engines was headed west to pick up an empty grain train at Live Oak. 6 minutes later comes an extra, X809 phosphate empty hoppers to Mulberry, Florida, and with just one locomotive. In another 5 minutes, empty rock ganj running from Davenport, Florida to Martin Marietta's mine at Augusta, Georgia. And at almost the same moment, coming out of Duval Ramp at Jacksonville is Q177, daily container traffic to Winter Haven, Florida. That was 4 trains in about 15 minutes. Not a bad end to a fun rail fanning Saturday. On the ex-Seaboard Airline Railroad at Baldwin, Florida, this is Danny Harmon, out.
CSX 177.26, CSX 279, clear south end of Baldwin, track 2 south end.
I talk a lot about the historical aspects of the lines I rail fan. I learn a lot of my information from this magazine, Line South. The third quarter 2015 issue has a great spread from ex-Amtrak engineer Doug Riddell about Seaboard Coastline's unique but failed crew cab engines, the BQ-23-7. There are great articles like this in every edition. Line South is available quarterly as part of your membership to the Atlantic Coastline and Seaboard Airline Railroad's Historical Society. To learn more, go to their website, aclsal.org, or search ACL-SAL on Facebook.